The worst thing in the world is being gassy when you're fasting. There's no relief.
I think poverty and human suffering is worse than you being gassy when you're fasting. But just
Do you like my glasses?
I don't know how. When's the last time you wore glasses? Because you got the LASIK, what, like 10, 11 years
I
ago?
got the LASIK 11 years ago. 12 years ago. Nope. Yep, 12 years ago.
Was it
And
before you got married or
no, it was
after?
after I got married.
Oh,
I've been married for a very long time.
yuck.
Um, yeah, I got the LASIK, but after babies, your LASIK, your lasers can get fucked up. So
Really?
I got like a slight prescription now. So I have like the slightest prescription. So sometimes, like if I've been on screens for a while, everything starts to get a little blurry again. So then I put my glasses on, and then when I'm using my computer Dora and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just a glasses person now.
Yeah, you're
I
a glasses gal.
just
I don't think you should ever wear contacts.
ugh.
Uh,
Well, the
put those
problem is
glasses back on. First of
the
all,
thing is,
if you're gonna not wear glasses, we need to do significant work to your under eye bags.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
See, we're really tempting people to make sure they watch us on YouTube now by doing all this audio, this visual content in an audio medium.
Yeah, the issue is there's a lot of face here,
I
and
know.
there's a lot of face.
And the glasses help.
The glasses, I think, do
It
help.
balances it out.
Yeah,
It's
I only
probably
wear
yeah.
contacts when I'm playing sports at this point, and that's it.
Mm, yeah. And then, your gams are compensating for your face at that point.
My gams,
Yeah, you
my
got
legs.
nice legs. You
I
got
do
nice
have nice legs.
legs when you're
I do
especially
have
when
nice
you're doing athlete stuff. You got good
sportsies.
games. You got games.
I do. I do have good games. If anybody wants to subscribe to my Gams only OnlyFans,
OnlyFans, except it's just your calf muscles.
I do
Dude,
have nice calf
I
muscles.
feel like you would make a killing, by the way.
On the calf muscles, I'm telling you,
Just your calf muscles alone?
just my I have been I had people have admired my calf muscles for over 20 years. I'll say that.
Yeah.
People are always surprised. They're like, "Oh, hey, what's going on
Yeah.
with your calves?"
I'm also very jealous of it because I have tree trunks for legs and cankles. So I appreciate your calf muscles.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
wish it was kind of if it worked that way throughout the rest of the body, but it doesn't. It's just the calves. Like I have like big like birthing hips. It's weird. My body, I think if you could remember when Johnny Sack, remember how he described his wife?
What did he call her?
What's the word for it? They're from like the Renaissance. What do you call curvy women? Hold on.
I'm
I
gonna
know.
Google it.
Rubenesque.
Ruben.
I have a Rubenesque body.
And you know what?
Gorgeous.
God bless your body. Look at
I
us
love this
talking.
body.
Okay, look at us talking about your body, so that we don't have to address what the world is calling our collective shame about the news
Mhm.
that came out about Kate Middleton. Now, I have to ask you, Kate Middleton, like literally 48 hours after we were yucking it up,
Mhm.
which by the way, I just want to say we were yucking about the firm and the royal
Yeah.
family, not
Yeah.
about Kate. Want to go ahead and say it again. Me? Worried sick. I thought these motherfuckers had killed her. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that she is alive, but she
Yes.
did share 48 hours after our last episode that she has been diagnosed with cancer. She had abdominal surgery. They thought everything was fine, but they did some testing. I'm assuming what happened is that they found something. They did a biopsy. The biopsy came back that there is cancer in her body. So now she's getting chemo. And she keeps we'll get into the cancer details
Mhm.
later because she calls it preventative chemo, which people are like, that means that it's fake. What's preventative chemo? I was like,
Come on, people.
all chemo is preventative. If you find a tumor in your
Mhm.
body and then you resect the tumor, you can go without any other treatment, or you could get chemo to make sure that your body doesn't get any of the cancer back, depending on the grading, blah blah, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So anyway, she said she has cancer. She's getting chemo. Then the UK press, I'm assuming the firm, started putting out all these articles that we should all be ashamed of ourselves.
Mhm.
So I want to ask you, are you ashamed of yourself?
Um, you know, I don't know if I'm personally ashamed of myself,
Uh-huh.
based off of our conversations and stuff like that. Because again, yes, it is unfortunate that we were having a conversation, we were yucking it up, we're talking about things like BBLs and things like that, right? But again, our conversation was more directed towards the firm and their actions and those
Yeah.
things, right? The fact that it's cancer, there's to us, and I think to most of the world, there's no joking around about cancer,
No.
right? So when you hear that, of course, you feel bad, and you should
Yeah.
feel bad. I think that
Yeah.
initial thing of, hey, I was laughing about a thing and it turns out it's cancer. I feel really bad right now. That is a natural reaction to have.
Yeah.
Do I think that the rest of us should live in shame because of it? No, because there is like all of this stuff started because of the actions of the firm, right? It
Yeah.
started with like the Photoshop. It started with, by the way, it's interesting. Nobody's talking about Kate visiting
Farmers
that farm
market.
that
When
farmer's
they were
market.
grocery shopping, so now we're
Yeah.
like, so here's the thing, that's exactly my point too, is like, we were talking about the fact that actually all of the cancer stuff makes it even more shameful of the firm and the
Yeah.
palace to be blaming this woman who's fighting she has to go, she's fighting cancer, and you're making her go on Twitter and be like, guys, yep, I love Photoshop.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Like, that's what you're doing. I think they should be ashamed of themselves. And also, you can't tell two brown people, two South Asians, that they can't talk shit about the royal family.
hmm and
They
again,
still wear
not to,
our jewels, our family's jewels.
yeah, they picked it up from Patna, Bihar. Um, yeah, and even let's say if you want to talk shit about the royal family, um, I think on an individual basis, like if you're talking about Kate the person, of course, I don't think either one of us would want to talk shit about Kate the person.
No, we've never talked about Kate the
We've never
person.
talked shit about Kate. I think William is open season, man. William
William
is
is
open
open season.
season.
By the way, why wasn't William sitting next to his wife on that bench?
I don't. Let's see, I don't. I
Okay.
don't. I don't want to. I don't want to dig deeper. But yes,
Oh, the woman
maybe.
was in the hospital getting abdominal surgery, which led to a cancer diagnosis, and this man only visited her once. Camilla, the true love of Charles, was there every single day. She was in and out.
Yeah, we should
So
all be more like Camilla. Is I
we
think what
should
you're saying.
all be like Camilla. Camilla's like, I'm distraught. My king husband, my Lord King husband. Isn't that what they say in like Game of Thrones and stuff?
My lord.
My Lord husband or my king husband.
Just my lord. I think my lord is more than enough. I think it conveys the emotion.
Is he is also fighting cancer, and I gotta take a I need to take off of my duties, whatever they are, for Camilla.
Yeah, she gets
Yeah.
out of those cobwebs, and now that you say it,
Yeah.
Camilla, you know, Camilla loves Charles so much that the fact that he was the prince, the future king of England, married to the future queen, didn't stop her from
No.
having an affair with this man. That's
No.
true love, man.
It is. Say what you will about those most likely racist sons of bitches, but
hmm
that's love.
That's true love,
Yeah. Anyway, we hope that Kate feels
of
great
course.
and that she heals and all of that stuff, because cancer, we could tell you, is the worst. And
Yeah.
so um the UK press, they have, like, Good Morning America, they have something called Good Morning Britain.
hmm
They did they did a report like 2 days later that there is a investigation now opening up with the parliament on these trolls, international trolls that were trolling, that were involved in spreading the vicious and disgusting lies about the Princess of Wales. Um and they're blaming China and Korea and Iran
Oh,
on all of the rumors about Kate and what she had been up to, and about William. I was like, that's convenient.
yeah. Why are we going to China? It was a China, Korea, and Iran. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a lot of snarky people here. We got a lot of people with a
Uh,
lot of opinions that are
yeah.
brown also.
TMZ's like, "Hello, we're right here. We work around the clock.
Yeah.
This is literally our business." So
Yeah, you just sold us a video for $200,000 2 weeks ago.
Anyway, lot going on in the news. Lots going
Mhm.
on.
Yep.
Lot of stuff going on. W Can we talk about something real quick, though, before we get to the other breaking news that happened yesterday?
Sure.
Um, Candace Owen, you're familiar with her?
I'm familiar with her and her work, yes.
So she was fired from the Daily Wire, which is, I believe, a Ben Shapiro,
Mhm.
outpost, right?
Yeah.
And allegedly she was fired because of her stance against Israel. And, Ben Shapiro is a Jewish man and he's very conservative and he's very pro Israel.
Yeah.
And so she was fired. And I want to talk about this just because, like, we've talked about before how, like, the waters get so muddied when, like, you know, uh, somebody like Sean King becomes Muslim, or like when an overall shitty person somehow does something to support like a cause. Suddenly, people are like ready to wash away their previous sins. So
Mhm.
now, Candace Owen, who was previously, like she's like the poster of anti woke media,
Yeah, she's a
is
moron.
yeah, she's now saying that it doesn't make any sense because people are tweeting stuff about her being like, "This is what happens when you're thanks a lot, woke people." And I was like, Woke people are the ones that are pro-Palestinian."
Yeah.
And she got fired for having non-conservative views. So it doesn't make sense. And there's like, their brains, there's what's the thing when robots stop working? What's
Like
happening
you.
to me right now?
I don't know, you fizzle out. Short circuit?
That's the one.
You're
Yeah,
a
they're
working professional, right?
I'm working right now. Yeah, so I feel like, their conservative brains are short circuiting, and now I'm like, I like go on my Instagram and I see people sharing stuff being like the same people who are like so excited that like Sean King is Muslim are like Candace Owen is being deplatformed because of her pro-Palestinian views, and this is what happens when you're pro-Palestinian, and they're gonna come, and I'm like, when you s- when you start to go that route, you start to like she's been vicious to black people, to her own community, to the black community, to the queer community.
Mhm.
Like she's been terrible to them. And I understand that like obviously good for you for not supporting a genocide, but you're still an overall monster. So like I don't know. I'm also at the point where now I'm like, if shitty people also are like, yeah, we should stop killing thousands of Palestinians a day. I'm not gonna give them a pat on the back for that. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, thanks. Join the party. So yeah. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
So specifically with this Candace Owen thing, right? I think there's also an element of anti-Semitism in terms of the people that are supporting her,
Yes.
because there is this like I think some of the things that she had tweeted, some of the Bible verses that she had tweeted, some of the conversation that she was having, it was more about like you know us or America doing something for the cause of Jewish people when we
Mhm.
have good Christians at home
Mhm.
that are not being looked after, that are not being serviced. And sure, she can just say that there is an anti-Semitism that's baked into it, but we know what what that conversation is like,
Yeah.
right? That is a centuries old, anti-Semitic trope about
Yeah.
Jesus and Jews and all those things, right? So when you look at the people that are supporting her in this, and if you read what their thoughts are, a lot of them are just anti-Semitic. People are just looking to be anti-Semitic for whatever reason, right?
The number of times I've had to clock people who are like, "I can't believe so and so is supporting the Jews." I'm like, "No, we should all support the Jews,
Yeah.
actually. Please, actually, don't say that again. We should
Mhm.
all be supporting Jews. That's not the problem here. That's a
Yeah.
crazy thing to say." But yeah, it does, and I would be lying if I said that there was no anti-Semitism baked into some of this stuff, but obviously there's like, also thousands of Palestinians dying every single day.
Exactly. And the thing is like, just because we do believe, and I do 100% believe that the plight of the Palestinians and the fight for their freedom and the fight to get that is the righteous thing to do, that is the right thing to do. I think my religion teaches me that, my progressive values teach me that, all those things teach me that, right? Just because a person who has shown a history of being a hateful person, of being a bigoted person, arrives at the same conclusion
Yeah.
as I do about one particular thing based off of however they arrive to it, right? I think that part of it is anti-Semitic or whatever doesn't mean that now that that person is my friend. No, because I have a whole history to go off of. I
Yeah.
know, I know what that person, what the other things that person stands for. So no, I'm not going to jump on board. I'm not going to defend Candace Owens,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's kinda like when, what's her name? Tommy Lahren. When Tommy Lahren was
Hmm.
kinda, like, ousted from, like, the far-right community because she said that she's pro-choice, and she believed that, like, like, I think she even believed that, like, if parents want to get, uh, hormone therapy for their children, they should be allowed to do that. And all the conservatives, like, they lost their mind. And so people have suddenly started
Hmm.
being like, "Oh, Tommy Lahren, good person." And I was like, "No.
No.
No, she just arrived to the conclusion on 1 or 2 topics in a good thing." Like, she decided that humanity applies for some groups of people, but
Hmm.
she's still not all the way there. Like, that's the problem with
Yeah.
somebody like Candace Owen or, like, fucking Andrew Tate and all these people. Like, they don't actually view all of us as human beings. They view some of us as human beings.
Yeah, and there are more than enough celebrities. There's more than enough people out there that you can throw your support behind. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't just because a famous person who is a horrible person says one thing that you agree with doesn't mean that now you attach yourself. But what's the point of that? That's just
Yeah.
stupid.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Um, Speaking of famous people who are horrible, oof, Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. His homes in LA and Miami were raided by the feds.
It's
We're
wild.
talking choppers and tanks. Amazing stuff.
SWAT.
SWAT team. They got raided. His sons were arrested. Apparently, nobody was actually detained. They were all just like arrested and questioned. But his homes were raided by the feds on sex trafficking charges that have been under investigated for some time. Then his private jet was seen going out of the country.
Hmm.
He was on the run. But then he ended up being spotted, I think, in Miami, but he's not been arrested yet.
Hmm.
Um, Not great for him. Also, while all this was happening, wait, let me just find the exact article. While all this was happening, something else also happened, which we don't want to forget about just because we're talking about Puff Daddy. What do you call him, by the way? Whoa, what was he going by now? Sean Combs?
I
Anyway,
call him Diddy. I think Diddy
yeah,
is
I
the
think
easy.
right now
Yeah,
he's going by Diddy. The people
Diddy.
are
Yeah.
calling him the Diddler.
Have you heard? I think I told you this. The kids online are trying to change that. You know the no. I'm not gonna say it. When you
HOMO.
HOMO and
Yeah.
also pause. They're
Uh-huh.
trying to replace that with no Diddy. So you say when you say something that's questionable, you say no
Oh,
Diddy.
I don't know about pause.
Oh, you don't know what pause is?
I
Pause
don't
is like the oldest one.
I don't know.
It's like when you say something that could be taken as, um, you know, uh,
Is it like saying timeout?
well, it's kind of like, well, pause, like, hey, that's not what I meant. So let's say if I'm talking about, like, I don't know, playing basketball.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you an example. Charles Barkley was talking about playing basketball, and he says something like, when a guy is banging you from behind, because he's talking about a position, right? So you say when a guy's banging you from behind, so people say pause, like, hey, just take a second, because just so you know, this is what you sound. You don't know what pause is? It's been
I don't
around since we were kids.
I don't think so. I think that my generation just said no HOMO.
Yeah, I think the Boondocks made pause very famous.
Oh, I didn't watch that cartoon.
Yeah.
I was elbow deep in Housewives and The Hills by then. So, okay,
Mhm.
we don't want to lose sight of this motherfucker also, but while all this was happening with Diddy, Russell Simmons was surprised by a process server in Bali, because he was also served with a lawsuit regarding something or another.
I
So
mean, Russell Simmons, that thing has been out since the Me Too, right? Like Russell
yeah,
Simmons was he was one of like the OG Me
he's
Too guys.
literally offshore. He's not in the country, guys.
Yeah.
It's not good. And then Page Six is doing some dirty work with Diddy, and I'm like, we barely work hard, but the firm works very hard.
Hmm.
Page Six released an article today. Prince Harry named in $30 million sex trafficking lawsuit against Diddy Combs, which is like, if you actually read it's a Page Six is so fucking dirty. He's not a defendant and he's not been accused of any crime. The reason he's been named is because it says like P. Diddy lured people into his parties by saying that famous people like the royal family or Prince Harry would be at his parties. That's how
Hmm.
it's anyway. Um
And they would be at his parties. Like that is the crowd. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Hello. Okay, so when this news broke out, what were your thoughts?
I was shocked. I was shocked only because I don't doubt that any of this stuff happens from what we hear, from what we heard from Cassie's lawsuit and stuff
Yeah.
like that, right? I believed all of that. That is stuff that Diddy has been openly advertising
Yeah.
in terms of his lifestyle for the last 30 years. Like that's
Yeah.
been part of the persona, right? What I was shocked by was the fact that people are actually taking an action on it. And then I'm thinking, what did Diddy do that is different than what other people who I just suspect, like, I suspect that this is a part of a lifestyle for a lot of different
Yeah.
famous people and a lot
Yeah.
of rich people. Actually,
Yeah.
more so than even just famous people, rich people do all sorts of terrible shit, right?
Awful, awful things.
Just terrible things. And I'm just wondering what it is that brought Diddy in like into focus on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the lawsuit that Cassie had probably started to like open up more stuff there. I think it
Hmm.
does also come down to like similarly with like Harvey Weinstein, right? It's like you need one person to speak up and then suddenly everything starts opening up because there's such powerful men. I feel like that's what like the people are afraid to go up against them. I think that that's maybe that's what it was. Um
I think
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, the other thing about Diddy that has been happening, I think since the Cassie lawsuit and maybe even a little bit before then also, I know Cat Williams talked about this also in his Club Shay Shay interview.
Yeah.
He specifically called out Diddy, right? It feels like I don't know if I'd call it the hip hop community or the culture or whatever. They have started to talk about Diddy pretty openly.
Yeah.
Like Diddy being a terrible person, Diddy being it's again, it's one of those things where you want to be careful because part of it is also homophobia.
Yeah.
Like it feels like Diddy may be bisexual.
Yeah.
That's the news that's out there, right? So people want to kind of latch on that and make fun of that or whatever. But it feels like people were distancing themselves from Diddy for a while,
Yeah.
with the understanding that he was still a very rich and powerful person within the industry. And I feel like that is now going away. It's
Yeah.
slowly going to be going away.
Yeah. I think that there's also because this happened, now unfortunately for some reason on my like Twitter timeline, it is all conspiracy theories. It's like QAnon level conspiracy theories because there's nothing QAnon loves more to like talk about than
Hmm.
Hollywood is the Pizzagate, Hollywood, sex trafficking,
Hmm.
pedophilia, drinking babies, Tom Hanks kills children, like all that shit. They
Yeah.
love to talk about it, right? So suddenly all that stuff started leaking in. And then, of course, such sad news that we saw that happen in Baltimore this morning at like
Hmm.
1 o'clock in the morning. A cargo ship hit the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which is like 695 in Baltimore.
Hmm.
Drive over that sometimes.
All the time.
Yeah. And it toppled, and there's like 50 cars that ended up being in the water. There's an entire crew that was on the bridge that fell. There's tons. It's a mass casualty. It's a huge, really terrible thing that happened. Um, and suddenly, Raheel, I like we got it. We nobody deserves this much technology. You want to know what these like Luna fucking ticks on the internet are saying right now?
That's that.
They're saying that Diddy, that this cargo real.
Wait, what?
No, listen, the cargo ships, there's people saying crazy stuff like the cargo ship held women and children that were being sex trafficked, and after that happened to Diddy and they knew that they were going to get caught, so they it was like a suicide attempt. There's people who are saying that Diddy and the people involved in his masterful sinister world of sex trafficking made that happen in order to distract us from what's actually going on in the rest of
Hmm.
Hollywood. There's people who are there was one person that said they're also because the mayor of Baltimore seems like a lovely guy, by the way. They're saying,
You know,
yeah,
the governor of Maryland, that guy is should be a presidential candidate in the next couple of years. That guy's
Hogan.
super. No, not Hogan. He's not the
Oh,
mayor. He's not the governor anymore.
okay.
Shoot, I forgot his name. Anyways, are these people online that thank God I am not following them or whatever? Are they also referencing season 2 of The Wire at all?
No, they're not.
Because season 2 of The Wire, again, takes place in Baltimore. It
Yes.
starts off with a container full of sex workers being discovered,
Oh
and they're all
God.
dead.
Okay. Well, see, this is like people we need to get here's the thing. It's really expensive to live. People are working multiple jobs. We're not getting enough sleep. We're eating processed foods.
Hmm.
And people's storylines from TV shows are bleeding into their brains and they think that it's real. And it's crazy. Somebody was saying, they were saying about the mayor, they were saying like this is what happens things because people cut corners and hire the wrong people because of DEI.
Hmm.
That is why the bridge collapsed, because if we hired more qualified people, then stuff like this wouldn't happen. I was like, "Are you guys insane?"
Didn't the bridge collapse because the ship lost power? Like it's a Singaporean ship that lost
Well,
power,
it wouldn't
and
have
it just.
lost power if we didn't hire so many black and brown people and women.
Well, I don't even think. I think it's probably the Singaporeans on the boat were distracted because they had to watch a video about using pronouns. I think that's probably
You're
the
right.
reason why.
That's
Yep.
probably it. Yeah. I guess
Hmm.
I need everybody's phones to be thrown into the river.
Not mine though. I'm
No.
good. I'm good.
How are you gonna start your Cavs OnlyFans
That's true.
without a telephone? I've had it. The conspiracies are nuts, and this is coming from a person who just last week was like,
I was gonna
"There's a
say.
fake Kate Middleton video on the internet, and I gotta talk about it." I was,
I looked at it frame by frame.
oh god, um, yeah, I've had enough.
Anyways, back to this Diddy thing.
Yeah,
Do you? I think Diddy now. We're assuming Diddy done. Diddy done,
Diddy's
right?
done for. Diddy
Diddy done.
done.
Diddy
Diddy
done.
done.
Do you think there's going to be other people like Diddy that are going to get trapped into
Yeah.
this type of thing? Yeah,
Not
that's
trapped.
good.
You
Well,
mean
not. I mean,
found?
caught. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's high time, but I also think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, "Whew, that was a close one. Let me just keep on keeping on."
That's what I really worry about. So, like, we know about terrible people throughout history, right? Because
Mm.
they get caught. A lot of
Yeah.
people just get caught,
Yeah.
right? And so we're like, oh, look at that person. That was a
Yeah.
terrible, terrible human being. What we don't think about are like the number of terrible people that just live an entire life, just being terrible, using their money, just getting
Yes.
away with it. It's very depressing.
It's so depressing. So why are we talking about this? This is so sad.
It's very sad.
It's extremely sad. I don't like it. Me, hot take. I don't like bad people. Um, can we add some levity here? I wanted to share something with you.
Sure.
Um, as per a Page 6 article, what do you think?
Hold on. You just said how terrible page 6 is, and
Yes,
we're going back to page 6.
we are.
Also, I know I read page 6 also, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, you're a terrible person. There you go. As per page 6, what do you think is America's hottest restaurant?
Hottest restaurant, like the most popular one
Mhm,
currently.
mhm.
Hmm. A lot of people like. I want to say Nashville chicken or hot chicken.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go with Hangry Joe's.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's so crazy. We're such siblings. Like, I feel like there's something happening here because
Yeah.
right before we started recording, I was looking at the Hangry Joe's menu.
Oh my
But that's not
god.
the answer.
Okay.
The answer is drum roll. There's no drum roll because we don't have that
Taka
kind of
taka taka
production
taka
value.
taka 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 taka
What
taka
kind
taka
of sad ass drum roll is
taka
that?
taka taka taka.
It's the Cheesecake Factory. Yeah.
Ooh.
Forget Carbone. The status table of the moment is at the Cheesecake Factory.
Who wrote that? Who wrote that line? Fire that person. That's not
Ollie
true.
Ollie Coleman. In the last month, bold-faced types as varied as Bel Air socialite Kathy Hilton and Midtown media titan Hoda Kotb have told Page Six that the chain is a top spot for romantic nights on the town. Do you believe that?
I guess so. I like a Cheesecake Factory. I've never regretted going to a Cheesecake Factory. The chicken Madeira all day, every
Yeah.
day.
Well, also now Kanye West, far at the other end of the celebrity spectrum, has been snapped there on a date with wife Bianca Censori. Why? We don't know. We're certainly not going to go there to find out. Why would you not go there to find out?
What's
I
wrong
would
with the
want to go.
Cheesecake
What's wrong with
Factory?
the
Yeah,
Cheesecake Factory? Anyway, I love the Cheesecake Factory. I think that it's so good, sometimes very expensive.
yeah.
Surprises you. Sometimes you're like ordering little things, and then you get the total, the bill, and you're like, $80. What did I eat for $80 at the Cheesecake Factory?
I've always gone with a group, so I'm expecting the bill to be high.
Yeah.
But I've never, the portions are so big that you're like, yeah, of course, I'm fine with it.
The brown bread. So good.
The bread,
The
amazing.
the little they have the mac and cheese balls,
Hmm.
delicious. One of the first dates, like official real grown-up dates I ever went on
Hmm.
was to the Cheesecake Factory, and I ate those mac and cheese balls.
Aw.
Yeah.
Cheesecake Factory or Macaroni Grill for you?
Well, I have not been to Macaroni Grills in a really long time. First of all, I think it's called Romano's
Oh,
Macaroni Grill.
Romano's. I'm sorry. Apologies.
Well, I think that the nice thing about the thing with the Macaroni Grill is the Macaroni Grill does family size portions. So they've got a Carmine situation going on. They wanna do, the big platters of food. And so I like that because I'm a family style girl.
The only thing that Macaroni Grill has over at the Cheesecake Factory for me is that they give you crayons at the beginning, and that's it.
You can get crayons at the Cheesecake Factory
You
too.
have to ask for them. Macaroni Grill just has them there.
You're right. Anyway, those are all the topics that I had to talk about. You got anything?
I have a bunch of sports thingies.
Oh, great.
Let me see. Do you want something that you would be interested in, or something that you're gonna pick up your cell phone for? Because I'm gonna talk about them both.
Okay,
Uh,
let's do interest.
let's do what you would be
No.
interested in.
No, let's do pick up my cell phone. I
Okay,
gotta
good.
check my emails.
So, have you heard? Somehow, this guy has become the official athlete of this podcast.
Is it Shohei Otani?
Shohei, do you know what's going on with Shohei?
Well, I saw that his wife was revealed. There was a face reveal of his wife.
Wife is old news. Nobody
Oh.
cares about the wife
Oh
anymore.
no, poor wife.
Yeah, wife. The wife.
Nobody cares about the old wife
No,
anymore.
nobody cares about that broad anymore. No, Shohei could potentially be in a lot of trouble. So, last October there was another federal raid of. They busted an illegal sports betting ring
Okay.
in Southern California, right?
Okay.
So, a sports book or whatever. As they've been going through their investigations, they found two wire transfers from Shohei Otani's bank account
Oh no.
for $500,000 each.
Oh
So that's
no.
$1 million. I just did the math for you. Um, so, th- so that investigation is still going on, but somehow ESPN found out that there were these two wire transfers from Shohei Otani.
Yeah.
So the reporters that are working on it reached out to Shohei's people, and they said, "Hey, what's the deal with this?" And then Shohei's people made his interpreter available to them,
Uh-huh.
right? So Shohei never talks. Whenever
Yeah.
Shohei he doesn't talk in English. He always has an interpreter. His interpreter is this guy named I gotta look it up.
Uh-huh.
Mitsuhara, right?
Uh-huh.
So Ippei had an interview with ESPN, and he said, "Here's the deal. Shohei was covering for me because
Oh,
I'm the one that was gambling, right?
okay.
And I came to him and I told him that I have an issue. I got in deep with these gambling folks and I needed a bailout.
Oh,
So
no.
Shohei went on his computer and he sent the wire from his own computer
Yeah.
to this book, right?
Mhm.
And then ESPN asked him, "What are those the only two wires that you had?" And he's like, "No, all of it probably adds up to about
Oh
$4.5 million,
my
right?"
god.
So that's what the interpreter said, right,
Mhm.
to ESPN. Now, ESPN was going to publish that story, but right before they were able to, Shohei's representatives called him and said that we completely disavow everything that the interpreter said. The interpreter is lying. Now, this
Wait.
interpreter, yeah,
Yeah.
is Shohei's pretty much his best friend. He has been with Shohei ever since he came to the US. So for the last 6 years, every time you see Shohei, you see the interpreter. He's at the games because he's interpreting between him and the manager and him and the teammates and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he's with Shohei all the time. And then they said that actually what happened is Shohei had no idea about anything and that this money was just stolen from him.
From this
The four
guy.
and a half, the from Shohei's account. So
Yeah.
basically, that this interpreter has just stolen the money from Shohei Otani, and that's it, right? Now, people are saying, wait a second, Shohei Otani had $4.5 million missing, and he had no idea. And then also, why were there two stories? Why was it okay for us to talk to the interpreter before, and
Yeah.
now you're telling us that the interpreter is lying, right? So all of this stuff is happening right now. Shohei came out yesterday and he said that I had absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. Blah blah blah. But there are a couple of things that are going against him. One, the money's going out of his account. And sure, you
Yeah.
can believe you don't
Yeah,
have
sure.
when you make $70 million a year, maybe you don't know where your money's going or
Oh my
whatever.
god. Yeah.
But also, as a sports book, the interpreter probably makes like $500,000 a year. They wouldn't give that guy a credit line for 4.5 million.
Yeah.
They would only give that for an athlete that can cover it up, or a rich person that can cover it up, right? So there's a lot of
Well, he
confusion
could have
about.
been just using that guy's, like, Shohei's account,
He
right?
could have
That's
just
ma
been using
yeah,
Shohei's account, right?
because that guy is not gonna get a loan that big or whatever.
Mhm.
And it makes sense that he would go and make up the story to ESPN and, like, say all this stuff. This is spicy.
It's very spicy.
You
So
thought
he
this was gonna make me pick my phone up?
maybe I don't know.
I love this kinda stuff.
Now, this is a part where I think you would really get interested, which is the hypocrisy of all of this stuff, right? Because so gambling is illegal in California still. Sports
Okay.
gambling is still,
Yeah.
which is the reason why Shohei had to go or whoever had to go find an illegal sports book, right?
Yeah.
But sports gambling in the US has been legalized for 40 states,
Yeah.
and there is a shitload of money that sports teams now make from legalized gambling.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you can potentially put these people in jail for all of this stuff, and you're telling us gambling is bad, and gambling is bad. Like people get really
Yeah.
caught up in it or whatever. At the same time, you are making all this money from all these new sports books like FanDuel and
Yeah.
DraftKings and
Yeah.
MGM and all this other stuff. So it's going to be interesting over the next year or so.
Can I say something? I have a confession to make. I
Mhm.
don't know what sports book means.
Sportsbook is basically just a place where you can play sports bets.
Okay.
And do you know how sports bets work?
Uh Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming like any other bet, like you just there's different things that you could bet on. You could bet
You
on
can bet
like
on
yeah, you could bet on like, how many points somebody's going to get, how many
exactly
touchdowns someone gets, whatever, like all that kind of stuff. Besides the actual score of the game, it could
who
be
wins
a
and
range of
loses.
things. Like it's almost like if you get points in fantasy football on different things that players are doing, you can even bet on those types of things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And now over the last couple of years, athletes are talking about how betting has been affecting their play. because
Oh.
they get messages on Twitter all the time from people telling them to kill themselves, and because they don't hit a bet because they didn't score enough points or they scored too many points or blah blah blah.
Well, I think
And
that
then
yeah, go ahead, finish your thought, and then I'm gonna share my
a-
thought.
and then the other thing is like athletes are also could maybe the lower level athletes, the ones who aren't millionaires or whatever, they could also be affected by it. They could find a way to change the odds for themselves, and then they could affect how they play the games or whatever. So sports betting is like the biggest story in sports probably for this year because I have to figure all that shit out.
Yeah, because this is that I was thinking that could lead to, a match fixing situation as we deal with sometimes in cricket and stuff, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yep.
I was gonna say that I am alarmed. I mean, I'm gonna say this, but sometimes the automated ads on this podcast are sports betting
Yeah,
ads.
yeah, they are.
But I think that I'm alarmed by just in like the last like 5 years, the amount of like online betting and sports
Hmm.
betting has happened, like how much it's increased. Because even like as soon as they legalized online bets and online gambling, I feel like we teetered into a different place. And
Yep.
I think that I'm concerned about like kids because you only have to be 18, right? Or 21.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. 18. Yeah, well, it depends on the state.
but you're very young. The frontal lobe, not developed.
Still soft.
Still still soft, like a baby, okay?
Yeah.
There's nothing happening up here. Bad decisions are being made. Then you
Hmm.
add on top of it the sort of like social media glitz and glam of you can make money in various ways online, right? Whether
Hmm.
you're an influencer or whatever. So kids are more and more and the dire situation of like the job market and how expensive fucking a crate of eggs is and
Yep.
how real estate is obscene and you cannot buy a house for less than $1 million anymore. Like there's so many things that are becoming absolutely like unachievable. And then there's these ways that you go on the internet where the internet convinces you that there's ways to like make money that aren't going the right route. Because
Hmm.
going the straight and narrow, like go to college, get a job, make money, get a loan, buy a house, that route it's not realistic anymore. That American
Hmm.
dream, as far as I'm concerned, is out of reach for almost everybody, right? The ways that you make money now are you go online and you find ways to make money. And I feel like there is a big problem because it's a big lie that they're being sold.
Hmm.
And then so you add on top of that, like the frontal lobeless kids that are going online thinking that they're going to make money. And they're fucking themselves over. And who's making money? These sports booking apps.
Yeah, exactly. So, having been like a sports fan my entire life, that betting part of it was never really a consideration for me.
Yeah.
Like I knew that, you'd hear about NFL bookies and things like that. I knew that that existed, but it was always tied to like organized crime, and I was like, I don't need to watch. I don't need to partake on that front to watch sports. It's exciting enough on its own. Since sports betting has become a thing, I have a FanDuel account,
Yeah.
right? And like the first day that I signed up for it, I put $100 of my money in there, and somehow, my first bet I netted out, so it was like $500. I had $500 in my account because I won something, right? And then
Wow.
I was like, "Fuck, this is easy." Of course, I watch sports. I know exactly what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
That is now down to 37 cents in my FanDuel account, right? And now I can add more money. I have more money if I want to add to it,
Yeah.
right? But I'm
Yeah.
also like, I don't want to do that. I don't
Yeah.
need to enjoy sports on that level. But the dangerous thing is you can add money using a credit card. And that's what
Yeah.
these kids are doing. They'll run up, huge credit card bills. And sure, some of them may win out. Some of them, people do get lucky. People do win on betting on stuff. But more likely, what's going to happen is you're just going to lose a lot of money and you can ruin
So
your life.
so, like, I know with, like, the stock market, right? Like, you have
Hmm.
to use a bank account for that. You can't use a credit card. I'm shocked to hear that the
Hmm.
gambling apps allow you to use credit cards.
You can use a credit card to add money to your account, which is
That's
crazy.
insane. That
It's
is
insanity. Yeah.
we should stop the internet. I think
Yeah.
they're putting a ban on TikTok. Why don't they do a ban on this? That's
Well,
crazy.
why don't we just wait a little bit? I have a bet that's still active from October. There's this basketball player I really like named Anthony Edwards. I put a $50 bet on him in October to win MVP. It's not going to come through, but if it does, I win $1,500. So yeah,
Fine. But
thank you.
yeah, that's crazy. That
It's bananas. Yeah.
is bananas. I don't am I conservative now? I don't know.
No, conservatives love sports
I
apps,
know, of
sports
course.
betting apps.
Of course. They love any way that you could convince people to spend their money.
Hmm.
Consumerism is, conservatives love that shit.
Hmm.
Anyway, what's your other story that you were gonna share? Is that it?
No, the NCAA women's basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Are you interested in that?
I am interested. I did see some clips of, that one white girl. She's smacking a basketball against her head.
Caitlin
Lindsay?
Clark?
Caitlin. Yep.
Lindsay. Yeah. So the NCAA tournament's going on right now. One thing I've noticed is the women's tournament is more exciting than the men's tournament in one aspect, which is the men's tournament, all the good players now are one and done. So
Uh-huh.
they go to school for 1 year, so you don't really get to know them.
Yeah.
Or a lot of them are going to like these they're either going overseas or you can join like these G League type of things where you get paid,
Yeah.
right? So people aren't going to college for 4 years. The women's game, because they don't tend to leave early, because they don't get drafted or whatever, you
Yeah.
get to know the players. So there's a lot of storylines
Oh, nice.
that continue on. So yeah, Caitlin Clark is the biggest one. Um, the other big one is LSU.
Yeah.
Do you
How
remember
are they
LSU? Which is
doing? Yeah, I remember that.
they're good.
Yeah.
So LSU and Iowa could potentially, if you're going to be watching, watch this weekend,
Okay.
be- because they're both going to be playing, I think, on Thursday, and then if they both win, they're going to go head to head against each other on Sunday or
Okay.
Saturday or Sunday or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is a storyline that has been going on since last year.
Yeah.
And that storyline has a little bit of everything. It has Caitlin
Yeah.
Clark. It
Yeah.
has LSU. The LSU team is a lot of people have opinions on them
Was that
online.
LSU has the player, I'm forgetting her name, and
Angel Reese.
Angel Reese, yeah.
A lot of people have Angel Reese opinions. You can guess why.
Yeah, she's a black woman. We talked about this
Yes.
before in the podcast, okay?
So a lot of people hate LSU for that reason. I mean, they say that LSU has attitude or whatever, and LSU
Yeah.
does. When they play or whatever, they
Yeah.
are very demonstrative and they do all those things.
And
But
Caitlin Clark slapped a basketball on her
uh,
head. What are
exactly,
we doing here?
there's this other lady, this girl who who plays for. I guess it doesn't technically
Yeah.
work because they don't get paid.
Yeah.
Who plays for
She
Stanford? Her
interns
name
for
is
Stanford.
Cameron Brink.
Uh-huh.
She's also very good,
Uh-huh.
right? But she is this tall blonde lady.
Uh-huh.
And her last game, I think she fouled out, and as she was fouling out, she told the ref to go fuck himself or something, or
Oh,
she said
nice.
"fuck you" to the ref, right?
Yeah.
And now people are like, "Hey, if that was Angel Reese, people would have
Oh.
different opinions about that."
Oh, the think pieces about her. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
So all that stuff is very exciting. I will give you one thing to watch out for,
okay.
which is Caitlin Clark is the biggest star
Uh-huh.
in women's, and she's the biggest star in college basketball right now.
Uh-huh.
Low key, there's this player for UConn. Her name
Uh-huh.
is Paige Beckers.
Okay.
Paige Beckers was Caitlin Clark in high school. Like, I've
Okay.
known about Paige Beckers for the last 5-6 years.
Okay. Weird, but
When
all right, go on.
Yeah, it's just I just realized that's when she was 16 years old. Makes me a creep. I used to watch YouTube clips of her. From Minnesota,
Oh,
actually.
okay. Oh, Minnesota.
I don't know why it keeps happening, but she's from Minnesota. Anthony Edwards also, who I love, plays for
Yeah.
the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
But anyways, Paige Beckers was injured for almost her entire college career. It's very sad because she was really, really good.
Mhm.
She is back. She is healthy now. And I feel like in the Final Four, it's going to be her versus Caitlin Clark. And you should watch
Oh.
out for that. It's fun.
Okay, I will watch out for it.
No, you won't.
Real, there was some big news, big shakeups in the Bravo space I wanted to
Oh,
tell
good.
you about. Okay. But
Please.
I think that I want to talk about it only because I think that there is an opportunity here for Bravo and sports to like touch, kiss on the
Yeah.
mouth.
It's like you and me having a baby.
What? What are you saying? Anyway, Bravo announced yesterday there was an announcement made that Candace Dillard Bassett will not be returning to Real Housewives of Potomac next year.
What did you call me?
Candace, sweet little Candace,
Okay.
my favorite housewife, Candace, is not going to be returning to Real Housewives of Potomac. She says that she's not saying goodbye, but she's saying maybe see you later.
Oh.
Soon after that, like literally an hour later, not even, maybe 30 minutes later, Robin Dixon also done with Real Housewives. She's quitting her job. That
Oh,
makes me
no.
concerned because Juan Dixon is not working. So I don't know who's paying those bills. Does not sound good for the Dixons. But it was a lot. There was a lot going on. People were, "Whoa, what's going on?" Real Houses of Miami, which you don't watch, 2 people from that show are potentially not returning. There's a conversation about, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, how somebody is maybe joining the show who was from
Mhm.
a previous, cast or whatever. I thought, like, my husband this time of the year, he gets very happy. March,
Free
exciting times
agency?
for him. Free agency and then the draft coming up.
Draft.
Oh my god, this guy, he's so excited. So I was like, they need to create like a period of time because right now there are no
Ooh.
housewives on TV. We are not watching any housewife shows. Potomac is on. Potomac is wrapping up. The reunion is going to be on over the next 2 episodes probably. But we're getting a period of time where from now to basically June, I think, or maybe end of May, there's no housewives on TV. I think they should use this period to do some sort of a free agent situation. Like, I think there should be a
Oh.
period of time where there's no housewives on TV and there's no filming happening either. And Bravo should say everybody's contracts are up for grabs. And then all of us like tune in to some episodes, some like programming over a weekend, like the draft weekend, where
Yeah.
you find out like whether or not people are going to be joining the show.
Like the LeBron
The
the
decision.
decision.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That would be
Yes.
amazing.
That would be amazing.
Get Andy on the phone. Oh, wait, is he still there?
He is still there. Yeah. By the way, also there's another TV show coming called The Goat on Amazon Prime,
Mhm.
and it's hosted by the guy. Here I'm short circuiting. He was a guy, Tosh, and
Tosh Point on?
Tosh
Daniel
Point oh,
Tosh?
Daniel Tosh. Daniel Tosh is hosting it, and it is a reality show competition of 14 reality TV stars.
Ooh.
Yeah, and somebody was like, "Why doesn't Bravo make one of these themselves?" But it's because Bravo doesn't have money like that to, like, just give away, like, to one person. $200,000? No. Andy needs that for his cocaine.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
yeah. Anyway, I think that that's what Bravo should be doing. I think we should have a 6-week period where we don't know what shows are gonna be coming. We don't even know what shows are coming back. We don't know who's gonna be cast on those shows. Like, I think that because I'm sure that does happen. I'm sure there's a period of time. We all
Mhm.
work at corporations. We all know what end of year and budgets looks like. We all know
Yeah,
about layoffs. Like, it happens. So I feel like that would be really exciting.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything like a Housewives fantasy league? Like
We
I'm sure
talk I
that's
think
good.
it's like discussed. There's a bracket that's done by a podcast that I don't like because they are problematic, but there's a
Mhm.
bracket that gets done every year, which is, March Madness, and they do a men's bracket on Housewives on Bravo, of hottest Bravo, guys. And guess what?
I don't love that.
White people always win.
Yeah, I don't love that.
It's really
No,
upsetting.
I'm sure that you could come up with a league or something and award points and go head to head every week, something like that. That
Yeah,
would be
we've
interesting.
tried it a couple of times. There's, like, a couple people that put it out there, but you know what the
Hmm,
problem is? There's not enough sports people that are also watching Bravo, so we
that's true.
need somebody to, like, put the mechanics of it together
Yeah,
to then, like, put it out into the world. Should we
like a
make an
scoring
app?
system. Should we? Is that what we should do? Should we quit our jobs?
Can someone help us build an app?
Yeah, exactly. Just because we're brown doesn't mean we know how to code.
I work in IT, and I don't know how that
Very
works.
sad. Very sad.
You also work in IT, no
Yeah,
idea. Not
for
neither of
20
us.
plus years, no idea.
I could bold something on WhatsApp, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, how do you bold? It's just the two stars,
It's
right?
asterisks, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, did
Asterisk.
you know the underscore makes it italics? We could take
Ooh.
this offline. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Did you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Ah,
So I
that's it.
think
All right.
that
Hey, I saw that Bruce is back
he is back. Did you see him would take his
with his
shirt off?
with his titties out.
Yeah,
Somebody said he looked like Tilda Swinton.
he does. He's very ghostly. But he's like 74 years old, man.
All
He'll be
right.
75 this year.
All right. Yeah, I know. No, I know. But those
Yeah,
those
September
breasts were
23rd.
breasting. You know what they look like? They look like what Donnie explained to us. Was it balloon boobs? Water balloon boobs?
Water balloon chest.
Yeah, he looked like he had water balloon chest. So
Yeah.
congratulations to him. Maybe he got
Bruce been
implants.
very No, Bruce has been very fit since the 70s. He never smoked. He drank he did drink a lot, or he drank an appropriate amount, but he would always run. So he's always been very fit.
Yeah.
Because see, the thing is, Bruce really cares about his fans. And he really cares about the fact that they spent a lot of money for his
hmm
shows. So the shows are always fantastic, right? And he needs a lot of energy for that. So that's the reason why he's always been in great shape.
Do you think that Bruce makes people feel
Loves
like,
me?
yeah, the way that people like Swifties think like Taylor Swift is their best friend? Bruce has convinced you that you are his best friend?
That is a part of I do think that's part of the appeal, is that you are a part of this big family, right? I'll tell you my Bruce experience when I went to Giant Stadium. It
I've
was
never heard this
me.
story before.
It was me and our brother. My brother was like somewhere in the crowd because he decided to show up 2 hours late.
Uh-huh.
It was me and him and 80,000 white people
Uh-huh.
in the in the thing because they were closing down Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
And I was pretty close to the stage,
Uh-huh.
and in the moment, I felt like Bruce was singing to me the entire time. I feel like we made eye contact at one point
And then
during
Bruce whispered to
Thunder
his
Road.
security, "Get that guy out
Hey,
of here."
hey, that guy's got big heavy breasts.
Look at that guy's calves.
I can't have those calves. Uh,
uh, all right. Well, that's it for this episode. I'll be back at the end of the week to talk about Bravo.
oh,
And I think I really like the schedule, guys. I'm just put this out there. I think I like the schedule. I like this early week podcast about pop culture and end of the week podcast about Bravo. We're doing two
just 2 a week.
episodes now. Just two a week. Please.
Yeah,
I have to build an app.
yeah.